Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. Right, today's session should be in the afternoon. All right, so what we're gonna learn today is actually our last topic for the course. Okay, we've done the on how to do resume, how to search for jobs, and so on and so forth. And this one would be the last one, okay, because we completed the job interview last week. All right, the last group would be last week, and today's topic is basically the last topic, and this is a new topic for you guys, okay, which is types of meetings. And I believe all of you have been involved in a meeting before. I'm pretty sure you all of you have been involved in a meeting before, but we need to learn in the formal way on how to conduct a meeting and what are the procedures that should be included in a meeting, because it is very important, because at the end of the semester your last assessment would be a meeting, and I would somehow assess your meeting according to the procedures. So you have to follow the procedures 1 until 6, and by doing that to get at least your full marks, right? If you miss any of those, and your marks will be deducted. And all right, let's go one by one. We do have two types of meeting. The first one is formal meeting, the second one is informal meeting. All right, what is formal meeting and what is an informal meeting? Informal meetings are just like, for example, discussion, where you call your friends and discuss at mama or whatsoever places that you like to have a discussion with. So that's what we call as informal. Whereas for formal meeting is held in a professional and business oriented setting, governed by a set of rules on the conduct of a meeting. Excuse me. Last for more than a few minutes, scheduled in advance, have an agenda and minutes. All right. So what is agenda? What is minutes? I will explain later on. But formal meeting is the one that, for example, us like government staff that we have every single month for the faculty, or maybe like you guys, you have what we call that election for the committee members for the any association that you involved with in UTHM and so on. Okay, that is what we call as formal meeting. For the informal meeting is something that you are doing casually. All right, so these are the comparison, okay, between uh, formal meeting and informal meeting. For example, okay, this is the formal meeting. For the formal meeting, for example, inaugural general meeting, for the purpose is a society should be formed or not. If it is, a society's constitution and standing orders are formulated. For example, annual general meeting to elect the executive committee, to present reports, to allow members to add their views and whatsoever. So, for example, you involved with JPAM, okay, JPAM or maybe RELA or whatsoever, any association, you should have the president, vice president, chairman, chairperson, advisor, and so on. The committee members are all there. So on to decide on that, we should have a formal meeting. Executive meeting, extraordinary general meeting to discuss an urgent matter which cannot. This one we call as an urgent meeting if we have something that we need to cater on. All right. Frequency, you can see there, once a year for the annual general meeting. All right. Depends on the needs of each society and blah blah blah. And then the last one is as and when necessary. For the participants, supposed to be all the group members or all the committee members should be there in the meeting, especially when you want to elect the committee members and all the jawatan kuasa and so on. So what is an informal meeting? Informal meeting is basically held in informal settings such as in cafe. All right, like the one that I said just now, you are doing group discussion, you are doing brainstorming and whatsoever, we call that as a informal meeting. Do not have agenda, call a short notice. Of course, kita panggil orang, jom lepak kejap, kita nak discuss on this one. Straight away, all of them can come and discuss at the same time. Not noted, minuted formally. All right. Usually for the informal meeting, we don't have minutes of meeting. We just jot down whatever things that is important. All right. Examples of informal meetings: short informal chat, brainstorming session, buzz group, and whatsoever, for example. And usually right now, nowadays, we don't actually do the discussion offline or face-to-face. We might have it on WhatsApp group, WhatsApp chat, or whatsoever. All right? The world is changing, as we know. All right? What are the roles of the meeting members? Okay, so every single person in the meeting, we do have the roles for that particular position. For example, what are the roles of a chairperson? Okay, the chairperson usually is the leader for that group. Okay, and you have to elect a leader among of your group members. Okay, The chairperson, please select a very good chairperson that could conduct a meeting, because most of the marks came from him or her. All right. If he missed any of the procedure, your marks will be deducted, and it is the blame to the chairperson. So the chairperson should be very good in handling a meeting, should be very good in communication, because I want everyone to listen and everyone to talk in during the meeting. All right. If that particular person cannot talk, all right, and if the group members are very quiet and the chairperson could not somehow feed the information to the group members and group members can talk, then somehow it's going to be a problem for your marks. All right. Okay, so before the meeting, assisting the secretary to draft the notice and agenda. All right, later on we'll talk about notice and agenda. Right now we focus on the role first. During the meeting, introducing and welcoming members, clarifying points and purposes, initiating discussion, keeping discussion to the agenda, keeping discussion relevant and to the point, and blah blah blah. All the list goes down. Okay. Basically, the chairperson must be very dynamic in handling the group members, okay, on the meeting. So that is very important, what we call that, role for the chairperson. After the meeting, ensure the preparation for the minutes. All right. So every single meeting, it must have a minute. Okay. Ensuring follow-up action. So what is a minute? Minute is a record for every single meeting. I'm pretty sure you have joined any meeting before, but I'm not so sure that you have read any minutes of meetings before. All right. So if you are in the government line, okay, I'm not sure about private companies. Okay, most of the private companies, they have their own ways on how to keep the record for the meeting. But for the government line, government servant like me, for example, we do come up with the minutes of meeting right after the meeting. All right, the minutes of meeting should contain every single details of the one that we discussed during the meeting. So those are the things that we need to focus on. All right. Okay, next, responsibility as a secretary. So the secretary is the one who will jot down all the points discussed in the um, during the meeting. All right. So, but before that, before the meeting started, has even started, maybe a week before, the secretary should come up with the notice as well as the agenda. What is a notice? Notice is a surat panggilan mesyuarat sebenarnya. Alright, notice is a surat panggilan mesyuarat, and surat panggilan mesyuarat, or we call it as notice, should have the agenda that we should include the things that we want to discuss during the meeting. All right. So during the meeting, the secretary needs to record the attendance, apologies for absence, accurately recording main points of discussions, discussion made and action taken, dan sebagainya, assisting with timekeeping, all right, contributing ideas to make decision, dan sebagainya. After the meeting, liaising with the chairperson to produce the minutes in the correct format. All right. When we talk about format, there are so many formats of minutes of meeting. All right. But for me, all right, I always to keep with one format, and then I will share with you the minutes of meeting, the example, the one that I gave to the previous classes, previous semesters, and whatsoever. You just have to follow that particular format. You don't have to create with a new one. And I believe private companies, they have their own format. Government, they have their own format. Or even antara private companies between another private companies pun, they have their own format. They have different type of format. So you don't have to come up with your own format. You just have to follow my kind of format. All right. So, and then you need to produce the draft minutes for the chairperson's approval, producing and distributing minutes within a specified time frame. Responsibilities for the committee members. Committee members are the ones who are in the meeting. Let's say your groups right now, we just follow the group that you are using for your job interview. All right, so you need to elect one leader, or we call that as a chairperson, one secretary from that particular group members, and the rest will be the committee members. Okay, so before the meeting, informing the chairperson or the secretary if unable to attend the meeting, reading all appropriate papers and report. This one is for the real way situation. Okay, like for you guys nanti, alright, you have to work together in a group. Tak bolehlah tinggalkan untuk secretary saja. Kalau tak, I will give more marks to secretary. Alright, for the committee members, lower marks. This one is basically on the real world situation where you are working in a company. Alright, so what is your role for your group members dan sebagainya. So that is the things that you need to do. But for this kind of exercise or assessment, all of the group members should play the same role. Okay, during the meeting, keeping focus on the topics being discussed, as usual. Okay, contributing ideas, participating in the discussion, listening without interruption, respecting different opinions, helping to make decisions, so on and so forth. So these are the roles and types of meeting. Next on the next slide, I will explain on the meeting in a particular version. All right. So this would be the first slide for you for this week. All right. Bye bye.